Once again, we welcome you to an archival audio extravaganza.
Ooh.
A paradoxical podcast of preposterous proportions. Ladies and gentlemen, with vigorous Victorian values.
Ooh.
And a liberal lot of laudanum. It's episode 8 of Round the Archives. Oh, me bleeding thumb. Oh, thank you very much. I'm off down the pub.
Here on One Now, we take you back to the good old days, in a programme which is not the one shown in Radio Times.
Hello and welcome to episode 8.
Yes, episode 8. Hello.
Of Round the Archives. I'm Andrew.
I'm Lisa.
I think that's all there is in the room, isn't it?
Yep.
Apart from some cats.
Apart from my cat.
Just a couple of very quick points from last
issue.
time.
Episode.
You said, I think, that Bernard's hat was a wimple.
Yes, when he's being
Guinevere.
He does wear a wimple.
Later on, when she goes into the
nunnery.
I was going to say monastery.
Yeah, no one.
Now she goes into the nunnery.
Yes.
Bernard does wear a wimple, which is the nun sort of headdress thing. But what we were talking about was, I think Desmond refers to it as a steeple hat.
A steeple hat.
And it's more correctly known as a hennin, from the Dutch word hennik, meaning cock, presumably because Bernard looked a cock wearing it. What else? We had a new country listen to us, didn't we?
We did. Hello, Peru.
Hello, Peru. Lima, in fact.
Yes.
Somebody in Lima's
Hello, Aunt
to us.
Lucy.
So if it's, Paddington's great. Not, I keep wanting to say great Aunt Lucy.
She's just Aunt Lucy.
Yes, that would be nice.
Yes.
Galton and Simpson, some recommendations were Cloche Merle and the Bargee for stuff that's perhaps a bit more serious.
Yes.
That was a suggestion from somebody calling himself Iggins, I think. The enigmatic Iggins.
The enigmatic Iggins.
Whoever that is.
I have no idea.
No idea.
No.
But thank you, Mr. Iggins, for that suggestion.
Yeah.
Yes. But I mean, we're here to talk about the DVDs that are, chiefly on our shelves.
Yes, apart from the ones that are on the floor.
Yeah, because we haven't got that much shelf room these days.
No.
It's
or floor space.
Mostly piled up. But we have been watching a bit of archive stuff on BBC Four.
We have
recently, thankfully, and that is The Good Old Days.
Yes.
And it's one of those shows that as a kid, I would have not been terribly interested in The Good Old Days. No. But now I'm finding it really, really interesting.
Yeah. It's a real snapshot of the time.
Yes, it's I guess as usual, if we're being listened to in Peru and Belarus and things like that, we shouldn't assume that just because we say the name of something, people know what it is.
Yeah.
So The Good Old Days is a BBC show, ran from 1953 to 1983.
Yeah.
And it's basically music hall, isn't it?
It is.
Music hall acts.
Music hall,
so Victorian Music Hall.
Yeah.
Performed at the Leeds City Varieties Theatre.
Yes.
And you're doing Victorian Edwardian songs, humour, sketches, but it's all.
And it's got some sort of.
Yeah. But it's not old footage.
No, it's performers of the day.
Performers of the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
So if you were doing it now,
80s.
you might have somebody like Ed Sheeran, for instance.
Okay.
Doing it,
right?
Because he's a singer.
Okay, I don't know about modern day things,
but that's just an example of who might be doing it now.
But yeah, there's something like 245 episodes of The Good Old Days.
Yep.
According to this note, 108 survive complete.
Yeah,
there's not much from the 50s.
No, there is one we saw from the 50s that the BBC Four showed over Christmas.
Yeah, BBC Four showed the one from December 1959, and that's quite a sort of good example, because I always say The Good Old Days is a bit, the quality of the acts varies
tremendously
a lot.
Yeah.
You do have the good, you do have the bad,
and
then you do have the Orville as well.
Yeah, the Orville. The bloody Orville.
The bloody Orville.
I like Orville.
I know you like Orville, but I don't like Orville.
Yeah.
But then I like Lord Charles, and you don't like Lord Charles,
I don't like Lord Charles. He's creepy.
So we're a bit sort of Jack Sprat and his wife over that, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind Lord Charles. He's fine, because Ray Allen comes on dressed on as John Pertwee virtually in the sketch I saw him do. He's like Pertwee's costume from the Three Doctors. That sort of what colour would you call that?
I can't remember now.
Not sort of salmon, sort of brick colour, isn't it? Sort of
orangey
browny thing.
It's red.
With a huge bow tie, just like John Pertwee's got on.
Yeah. Well, that was obviously the fashion at the time.
The 1959 one that was shown was really, really good picture quality, I thought. It seemed to be, as far as we can work out, and we did sort of ask, it seems to be a 35mm copy of an original transmission. So it looks immaculate.
It does look very good. Yeah.
And it's the real highlight of it is Morecambe and Wise.
Yeah.
It's a very early surviving appearance of Morecambe and Wise. And they're really good.
They are. They're not doing so much of the stuff they do later on with the paper bag. And as funny as that all it is, you know.
I love the paper bag.
Yeah, I know.
I can do that.
I know you can. But they're doing different stuff at this point.
Yes.
They haven't quite developed it as an act as quite so much.
But the range of people you get on The Good Old Days over the years, you get quite a few people coming back and being invited.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you do get some really strange
some people who shouldn't be invited.
There's a bloke that produces flowers and fills the stage up. It takes 5 minutes, and all that happens is flowers keep appearing out of a box.
Yeah.
But the audience seemed to lap it up.
Yeah, they were highly amused.
There's the Chinese bloke with his spinning top thing on the sort of skipping rope.
Oh, right,
He's got a rope and he's got what's it called, a Diablo?
Something like that, yeah.
And noticeably, both of these people also pop up on 321, doing exactly the same act.
Well, that's just ITV's version of this in some ways, isn't it? Especially later on in its run.
I mean, talking about ITV's sort of versions of it, I've sort of dug around for some bits and pieces, and I found some episodes of The Muppet Show where they're doing old time music hall as well.
Okay.
You've got Miss Piggy singing.
Interesting.
The Boy I Love is up in the gallery, and that shot really like it's an episode of The Good Old Days.
Yeah, because it's actually a full length shot of Miss Piggy, which must have been very hard to do.
But we put up a picture on our Facebook that we were going to do The Good Old Days, and it exploded with replies.
We did. It did.
I was really amazed and pleased how many people had something to say about The Good Old Days. So let's just quickly see what came up. Steve Roberts says my mum can be seen in the audience of one show
in a hat,
because Barney Colohan, who was the producer, was an old family friend of Steve's family. He said Barney was keenly interested in the amateur operatic scene northwest of Leeds, where I grew up. A lot of audience members of The Good Old Days were drawn from various amateur operatic societies. Because now we should say about the audience, because the audience come in full costume, don't they?
Well, I don't know whether sometimes when they get there's a bit of help from the costume department.
Yeah. Well, there was apparently an information sheet sent out to the ticket holders giving advice on how to make their own costumes, but I don't think everybody could have the time or effort. So obviously the BBC costume department decks them out
with some hats and sticky old moustaches,
dreadful moustaches and whiskers and sideburns. We'll talk about moustaches in a minute. But the audience are almost as interesting as some of the acts on occasions. Peter Crocker says the warm-up man for the good old days was Gerald (Jerry) Raper, an old friend of Colahan's from the war days, and my music and French teacher in junior school.
Okay, it's interesting.
Quote, a dead-eye shot with a wooden blackboard duster and not averse to dragging errant boys to the front of the class by the ears.
Oh, those were the days.
Not having thought about him for years, sometime in the 80s or 90s I dreamt about him, and the next day saw his obituary in the newspaper. Spooky. 100% of Bronson, a fearsome teacher but really cared, old school in every way, always wore a check tweed jacket and sported a well-groomed moustache like Cesar Romero.
Okay.
And there's a picture of him from 1973, which doesn't work on audio.
No.
Obviously.
No.
We've also got some bits and pieces. There's an old guy who lights the candle at the start of the show and sits on the chair behind Leonard Sachs.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Leonard Sachs in a minute
second,
also.
Yeah.
This guy was a BBC carpenter who built the side steps and chairman's box for the show back in the day. These weren't permanently part of the City Varieties stage, so they had to sort of tack it on. When he retired, this bloke was hired to make sure the steps and box were fitted correctly for each recording as they were removed and stored away each time.
Yeah.
His candle lighting was so he could get paid for the job as an uncredited walk-on without his other task officially going on the books.
All right,
So
okay.
there you are. That's from the enigmatic Higgins. All that information. So thank you to that. John Featonby says he saw what was it? Rocky Horror Show being done at the theatre.
Okay.
We should say about the theatre. Leeds City Variety Theatre was a music hall which was built as sort of an adjunct to the White Swan Inn. The Swan Inn dates from 1748. The theatre itself is 1865.
All right.
If you go on Google Maps, which I've got here, it's in Swan Street. There's the pub, the White Swan.
Yeah.
Just walk up it's a little side street next to the Vodafone shop.
Right.
There's a bagel shop just opposite, and there is the actual entrance. Apparently Sleeping Beauty was on when this Google picture was taken. If you zoom in, there's a blue plaque. City Varieties Music Hall. Harry Lauder, Houdini, Charlie Chaplin performed here.
And Mary Lloyd, you said as well.
Yeah, and famous venue of the good old days for first broadcast in 1953. So John Featonby said he came from Leeds and sort of knew it quite well. But I just think that's nice that you can actually see, because I never imagined it looked like that. It's a sort of white building.
Yeah.
And it's just up some little side street. It's not even on the main sort of thoroughfare. So if you imagine all these big stars having to go down this sort of... It's a bit grotty, really.
It's slightly grotty.
It's not...
It probably was grottier in the 70s.
And even, yes, I'm trying to imagine what it was like then when the bagel shop wasn't opposite it. But there's a load of bins there, you can see. But yeah, in terms of people that you get, the 1972 edition we saw, Eartha Kitt turns up.
Yes, that's just extraordinary.
And Eartha Kitt, she was a big star.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, what's she doing ending up in Leeds in 1972? Because she comes down and does this song. First, Eartha Kitt in full flow as a bloke is quite frightening. If you're a bloke, it's quite frightening to have her doing that.
Yeah, in your face.
In your face. So first of all, she does one with Leonard Sachs.
Yes.
Leonard Sachs is the host of the show.
Yes, he's the chairman.
He's the chairman. He comes on and introduces all the acts.
Yes.
He's got his gavel that he bangs, and he does these wonderful, long-winded introductions
with lots of sort of over.
And this, of course,
words.
is the inspiration for Henry Gordon Jago in Doctor Who: The Talons of Weng Chiang, most notably in episode 4 when the Doctor goes to the theatre.
Yeah.
But yeah, then Eartha Kitt comes down and does this song directly to this bloke dressed as a soldier.
Yes.
And he's got a rubbish stick-on moustache to start with.
Yes, he has.
And as she gives the full performance right at him, he's starting to sweat.
Yeah. So the moustache starts to
because he's scared of her. He's clearly scared.
He's clearly scared. Clearly
and the moustache starts to come away.
Yes.
And he starts to grin, and then she's clearly grinning. And they just about get through the performance.
Yes.
You can see almost the relief on her face that, well, we made it to the end of the song. But I said to you, well, what's Eartha Kitt doing in the middle of Leeds in 1972? And then we looked her up, and she had made a number of comments about the Vietnam War. which didn't really go down too well.
No.
Let's have a look. Yeah, in 1968, she made anti-war statements during a luncheon at the White House.
Like you do.
Which didn't do her career in America
Much
a lot of good.
No.
Yes, I mean, we're talking 1968, and I think perhaps black women weren't supposed to have opinions at that point, and certainly not even to voice them.
Yeah, perhaps women weren't supposed to have opinions at that point.
Yeah, to the president's wife. So that didn't do her career a lot of good in America. So she came over to Europe and Asia, which is how she ends up singing to the man with the rubbish moustache. I just think that's interesting, the way sort of people's sort of careers and decisions sort of lead them on various paths. But I mean, I enjoy the good bits of the good old days.
Yes.
Some of it you do grit your teeth at. There is a bit of filler material.
Yes, there's a lot of acrobats and rubbish ventriloquists and magicians.
But then on will come, Les Dawson,
or Ken
or Larry
Dodd,
Grayson, or Ken Dodd,
or John Inman.
I mean, Sheila Steeple makes loads of good
She
appearances.
does, and she's very good every time. They just sort of go, "Oh God, it's Sheila Steeple again," but she does do great stuff.
Yeah.
It's just that she's on there a lot.
Yeah. Richard Hearn does turn up
as
Mr. Pastry doing the Lancers.
Which is extraordinary. You should see that if you've never seen it.
Yes. You get Billy Dainty.
Billy Dainty
later also does a Richard Hearn tribute
He
act.
does,
On various bits. I'm not sure he does it on the good old days.
I think he does it on the London Palladium.
Yeah.
But
you've done music hall, haven't you?
I have done one musical several musical performances. Yes.
What did that involve then?
Well, it involved being in the chorus and singing songs.
What did you sing?
Well, I can't sing terribly well, so that's why I was in the chorus.
Yeah.
I think we sang, I'm trying to remember if that was the one where we sang 42nd Street, which was extraordinarily hard to do because being a Doctor Who fan, I can't dance. I don't have the dancing gene, and I trying to it was just a simple step out, but trying to get that in time with everybody else was quite difficult. It didn't help as well that if it was this particular occasion, next to where we were rehearsing, there was believe it or not, a heavy metal Morris Men troupe.
That's very hard to say.
Yes. So every so often they would shout and I don't know if they were jumping or just walking around, but it was all wooden floors and it sort of made everything vibrate. But yeah, so that's one memory. I think we sang Consider Yourself as well, but that might be something else. And I also did a little sketch with one of the other members of the amateur dramatics group I was in, and it was based on a monologue called Oxo the Wrestler.
Right.
And I had to be his assistant, and I wore a leotard.
Who are you, Bovril?
And I had Oxo sewed across my bottom in tape. And I had to come on and get carried away and prance about and then get sent off by the wrestler.
Okay.
And the audience sort of awed a little bit.
So that's your brush with musical.
Brush with musical, yeah.
Okay. Edward Woodward.
Yeah,
fantastic singing voice.
He's got a really good singing voice. Yes. He did several records.
Yes.
In the 70s.
Yes.
So.
Trying to think, who else have we got on here? Oh, Beryl Reid, Roy Castle.
Oh, I've never seen Beryl Reid.
Rod Hull.
I've seen Roy Castle.
Bruce Forsyth. Arthur Askey singing about bees and various
he doesn't always sing about bees. He was singing about his grandfather's... About his grandfather the other week.
Okay.
I can't remember what it was.
Oh, the ones with the wooden leg.
A wooden leg.
The whole family's
bump.
got a wooden leg going up the aisle. Bumpity bump, bumpity bump. Yes, thank you for that. I'd totally forgotten about that. But Hinge and Bracket make 3 appearances. I think we have got a list supplied by a certain person.
Yes.
Mr. Iggins. For everybody's appearances.
Exhaustive list.
Yes, so if you really want to, we could go into real I was going to say intimate or intricate details.
Both.
About that. But yes, it's quite interesting to see all these people. And again, it's now one of these things. It has now become a important sort of TV history, hasn't it? Because so many of these acts are now no longer with us. And it's a real sort of throwback to I mean, it started in the 50s when variety
was still around.
There is variety, it's still... Because,
But you don't get the wide range of acts that you used to
the
get.
Leeds City Variety Theatre does actually present a Good Old Days event every now and then.
All right.
So that
there was
still
a
going.
music hall performance at our local theatre, the Lighthouse Theatre in Poole.
Yeah.
But it was on Wednesday.
Yeah.
But I think it was probably aimed at the older generation.
But as I said, as a kid, wouldn't have been interested in it. Now, find it interesting for the acts.
Yeah.
And even the support people are really interesting because there's one of the sort of regulars. He's Dudley Stevens, who we should briefly mention.
Yeah, he's in the local theatre group, isn't he?
Yes. Well, he later goes on to produce the pantomimes at Swansea Grand Theatre in the mid-80s. Because, here we are, the Swansea Grand Theatre website has got an archive section. And if you look at Babes in the Wood, 1983, 1984, Windsor Davies, Melvin Hayes, Cinderella, 84, 85, Paul Henry, Bernie Clifton in Aladdin, these are all produced by Dudley Stevens. And, on the Good Old Days, he's just jigging about singing and with a moustache on.
Yeah. Oh, and in one episode, and I still can't quite remember what it was, but the actor that plays Mr. Davenport in Rent a Ghost is there singing.
Yes, that's right. And that's quite weird because, of course, in Rent a Ghost, he's a Victorian ghost. And in the Good Old Days...
He's a Victorian.
He's a Victorian, not a ghost. But that's Michael Derbyshire, isn't it?
Yes, Michael Derbyshire. I couldn't think of his name.
But he just looks the same because he's got the big hair.
Yeah.
It's quite odd to see him in that sort of environment. But
on this one episode, I think it's a Christmas episode, where they have a problem with the camera.
Oh yeah, the camera. Because again, it's a hard thing to shoot sometimes because you've got to have really inventive camera angles sometimes. Yeah. They quite like shooting in the mirror, don't they? To get the reflection of the stage. But this camera's trying to track into the stage. Yeah. And I said to you, blimey, that picture's wobbling about, isn't it? And it almost looked as though one of the wheels of the casters had got stuck or had fallen off or something.
In the end, they just jam it up against the column.
I think they abandoned trying to move it.
And it's just in one position.
Yeah.
So they have to rely on the other cameras to get other shots. Yeah. Well, the other cameras were probably only 2 cameras.
But quite often, the Good Old Days is on when we come home from shopping. Yes. So we're in and out with the shopping. So we don't tend to get to see all of it in one chunk. No. But when we sort of watch it back, there's always a song that sticks in my head for a few days. Yeah. So there we go. But so Good Old Days, interesting range of people. Yeah. You won't necessarily enjoy all of it.
No.
But the good stuff is worth it.
And the other stuff is interesting.
Yes.
Mostly.
Some of it you sit there and think, blimey, we were quite easily pleased.
Yes.
But then as I said, then Ken Dodd will come on and completely, dominate the proceedings.
Yeah, and they usually give Ken Dodd quite about the last 10-15 minutes of the
big
programme.
long tickling stick and stuff.
Yes, because he does go on.
But there we go. So that's our first thing. Yes. We'll now pass over to Paul for his last few questions, and then we'll come back with something else. See you soon then.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
So, my penultimate question is, what shows or scenes scared you as a child? Well, I kind of answered that earlier, so that would be like the Incredible Hulk. Scaroth taking his mask off in Doctor Who. Daleks. I mean, I tell you what though, that scene in Destiny of the Daleks where they've broken into the base and it's all that shiny walls and it's really quiet and you know the Daleks are somewhere and they're walking around. I'm still nervous when I watch that now because it's so tense. It's such a tense moment. I can imagine that being. I mean, I don't know whether that sort of disturbs me more now or has me on the edge of my seat now more than it did as a child, or whether, it's certainly a very tense moment. I'm a big fan of Destiny of the Daleks. The Movellans are just super cool. And the Triffids. So that's another scale. So I've sort of answered this question. So I won't linger any longer on that one. So here's my last question. Oh, it's quite a long one. Okay. If you were introducing someone to 20th century Doctor Who, which story would you show them and why? I'd probably show them. I'll go for my two favourite stories, Seeds of Doom and Green Death, because they both. They both. I think the modern audience is. There's so much Star Wars, Star Trek, etc. stuff set on planets and spaceships. It's almost. I feel that we need to sort of remind a younger audience that science fiction doesn't have to involve spaceships and planets, and it can involve things coming to Earth. And I think that's forgotten. I think spaceships and planets and stuff is sometimes what puts a lot of people off sci-fi. I don't know, it's just stupid costumes and blah blah blah, and some of that I like, but I think we don't get things like Quatermass or Sapphire and Steel and things like that, all stuff that was science fiction but set on Earth. And Doctor Who, most of my favourite stories involve the Doctor on Earth. And Seeds of Doom, some of these stories, because they were not parodying but doing their own versions of, if somebody has seen The Thing or they've seen The Thing from Another World, they're going to recognise aspects of Seeds of Doom. I don't think. You have to understand that. There are certain there's certain special effects in the Seeds of Doom that I still love, which I think are even better than big budget special effects. The seed pod opening and the all that. I just think that still looks amazing, but I bet it would look really rubbish to somebody who's aware of like CGI. I can't stand CGI most of the time. It's fine for planets, not fine when it's a monster. Fine for spaceships, but not when it's supposed to be something that is meant to actually genuinely scare you. Green Death, again, it's sort of, it's just, I don't know, the whole 70s era, the whole on location creatures, or maggots, things that make you go, ugh, and I just think that it's got comedy, it's got I think there's something for everything in the Green Death. I think those are the two. It depends if you wanted to show somebody a regeneration story. I'm, whether you want to show somebody an obscure story. It's hard to know what would impress an audience who haven't seen 20th century Doctor Who. But Seeds of Doom or Green Death for me. And if I had to choose between them, probably Seeds of Doom. Even though the crinoid that's shuffling around the garden is a bit ridiculous, but this is the thing. Ridiculous is so much more. I'll take ridiculous any day over authentic CGI, which doesn't look authentic. For instance, like the werewolf in New Who, it looks like a cartoon character. It's very good. It looks very nice. It doesn't scare me. It's like it's not there really. It just has no impact on me whatsoever. The shuffling crinoid. I think it works. I think it works better. It is kind of borders on funny, almost. But who knows? Who am I to say? This is just Shayeti's opinion. Well, I think that's my 8 questions done. I'm sorry I've rambled for far too long. I hope some of what I said makes sense and you're able to use it. So, well, that's all for me, Shayeti. And do please listen to my podcast, the Shy Life podcast. Miss Lisa and Master Trowbridge appeared in one of my early episodes, so I think episode 14 or something like that. So, and I like to think that it was appearing on my show that inspired this show to start, the one you're listening to now. So, I hope I'm an inspiration. Also, I did the end theme titles, theme music. Yeah. Yeah. That was me. That was me. Yeah. What do you mean you don't like the end theme tune? How dare you? Right, I'm going. Bye.
2 programmes for your entertainment this Sunday night on BBC One. At 7:15, Loophole, starring Albert Finney as a top safebreaker, and Susanna York and Martin Sheen as the young couple with money problems who plan to rob a bank. Then it's honky-tonk time in the good old days. Join a whole host of stars for a twinkling time at the City Varieties Theatre, Leeds. That's Sunday action and variety here on BBC One. Now on BBC One, we join Desmond Lynham for Sunday Grandstand.
No, we are not watching bloody Sunday Grandstand. I hate it. It's so boring. Loads of cars going round and round and round in circles for weeks on end, and loads of blokes with different shaped balls. I don't know what it is. Oh, I do. Sorry, I do beg your pardon.
Feel better now?
Yeah, I've got it out of my system.
Good.
Right, sorry. Just felt the need to do that.
Okay.
What should we mention? We mentioned John Featonby briefly in the
Good Old Days
article. Yeah. We should give a plug to his SoundCloud podcast, which is under his name. Just search for John Featonby, and it's a podcast to do with commentary for the TV movie, which I had listened to and was rather fun. Quite enjoyed that. Obviously, Paul's mentioned his Shy Life one. Yeah. But was there anything else? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
We tried to look up Oxo the wrestler, didn't we?
I think they maybe somebody wrote it especially for it.
I don't know. But otherwise, I think we'll move on to our next series. And our next series is Whodunnit.
Yes, indeed.
Whodunnit number 1, VTR number 16917, part 1. 15 seconds. Hello and welcome to Whodunnit.
So, Whodunnit?
Yes.
Well, lots of people done Whodunnit, didn't they?
They did. in the sense of Whodunnit in the series and Whodunnit on the panel.
Yes. Whodunnit. Again, it's not really a show I have any particular memories of watching, really.
No, well, I wasn't old enough.
You technically were old enough.
I was, but I was 3, wasn't I?
Let's have a look. The original pilot episode is 15th of August 1972.
Well, then I was 4 days old.
And you honestly don't remember it?
No.
God, your memory's getting dreadful now you're getting older. Yes, it is a game show.
A panel show.
A panel game show.
Not a game show necessarily, because you don't really win anything at the end.
Made by Thames. Created by Jeremy Lloyd and Lance Percival.
Yes.
The pilot episode, I said, is 15th of August 1972 and is hosted by Shaw Taylor.
Yes.
Shaw,
Even peeled.
Shaw Taylor, of course, known for Police 5, the crime show. And he also did the voiceover for the Master segment.
Oh, yes, in the 1993.
1993 Doctor Who and the Daleks insert bits.
Yes.
So that was quite nice to get him to do that. The pilot episode is hosted by him, and then the actual first series is then hosted by Edward Woodward,
who is on the pilot.
Yes. Then John Pertwee shows up in, I think, the
Episode
third
3.
episode as a guest.
It's generally a bit annoying.
And John Pertwee takes over for the rest of this from series 2 onwards.
Yeah, because I think it was felt that Edward Woodward wasn't the best host ever.
Yes.
But I have to say, the first series is all over the place, and by the end of the first series, he's settling down nicely. And I think had they given him a chance
More
to do the
time
second
to do,
series,
yeah.
he might have done it. But then maybe he was doing Callum.
Maybe.
Yeah,
But yes, you basically get a little sort of drama acted out, don't you?
You get a little segment at the start.
And it's usually a murder.
It's usually a murder. It's not always a murder.
It's not always a murder.
No, there was a theft of a painting.
Oh, yes.
There was a smuggling...
yes, we'll talk about that one in a bit.
There was a smuggling case, which we watched earlier.
Yes.
So,
yes, but it's usually a murder,
yes.
but there's always some sort of crime or mystery or something like that.
Yeah.
So you get the guest cast of actors acting that out.
Yes.
Then you get a guest cast of
panellists
who are also generally famous.
Yep.
Apart from the ones that aren't.
Oh, yeah. Apart from the series 5 where they have 3 celebrities,
yes,
and one person who's won a competition in the TV
Times.
So there's 6 different people that have won the competition in.
Everybody's usually got a fag on the go, haven't they?
Yeah.
There's an awful lot of smoking on it.
Yeah.
But then you do get the studio audience, and you do get also like 4 people from the studio audience.
Yeah, for the first 3-4
for the
series.
early series. Yes.
Yeah. And we do give their full addresses when they win.
Yes, because if you win, you could get something from the set, couldn't you?
Or a Whodunnit trophy, which is a magnifying glass.
Yes.
In a frame with Whodunnit.
But yeah, I mean, you've got John Pertwee as the sort of main host for his thing, and it's fairly obvious. It's sort of invite a lot of John Pertwee's mates on after a while, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's quite fun. But let's just concentrate on one particular episode, shall we? And the one I think we chose was
A Time to Die.
A Time to Die.
And die is spelled D-Y-E. Because it's setting a hairdresser's.
Yes. So lady goes to have a face. She's got a face pack on.
And they're going to do her nails and just
business.
tidy her up a bit because she's going to some sort of premiere. when we say a lady, we mean a lady.
A lady.
Yeah, she's Lady P. Don't know if they ever say what her surname is.
Lady P.
Lady P. And she looks like Janice from the Muppets.
Okay. All right.
Because she's got long blonde hair.
Okay.
And she turns up and
she got a hat? Janice had a hat.
Oh,
right, okay.
But yeah, she turns up and she's rather worse for wear. So they bundle her off to one of the back rooms, and she's got lots of jewellery on, lots of diamonds jewellery, and somebody there decides they want to steal the jewellery. So they try to knock her out with
carbon tetrachloride.
Yes,
no.
Which kills her.
Yes.
Because she's drunk, and apparently it suffocates you anyway, doesn't it?
Well, yes, I was just looking up the safety data sheets for carbon tetrachloride, which is what I do. It's toxic to the liver. Exposure to it can affect the central nervous system, damage the liver and kidneys. Prolonged exposure can lead to coma or death. Carbon tetrachloride was also used to extinguish fires in the early part of the 20th century, because it won't catch fire. Well, not easily anyway. And there was such a thing as a fire grenade made, which was a glass ball filled with carbon tet. You could throw it on the fire and it would make the fire go out. It's quite clever. Trouble is, carbon tet is very poisonous. It was used as a dry cleaning solvent as well.
But in this case it's used for hairdressing purposes.
I
forget what they say it's used for.
I forget why.
But hopefully they did some basic research to make sure that what they were talking about wasn't complete nonsense.
Well, I looked up carbon tet and how you make it. These days you make it from methane, because methane's CH4. You react it with chlorine, and the hydrogens and the chlorines exchange places, so you get CCl4 and HCl, hydrochloric acid, left over. Initially it was synthesised by a French chemist, Henri Victor Regnault, in 1839. And there's a picture of him.
All right. That's not very good on audio, though, is it?
I know, but
You'd have to look him up.
He looks like a sort of 19th century French chemist.
Right.
Quite nice bow tie.
Yeah. How do you look like a 19th century
that's what he looks
French chemist?
Well, I don't know.
Well, he hasn't got a beard. That's very disappointing.
Yes. Well, yes, Mendeleev had the best beard, I think, when it comes to chemistry.
Yeah.
Yes, going off the point here.
Yeah.
But who is the by far the best star of A Time to Die?
Paul Darrow.
Paul Darrow.
He plays the policeman.
Yes, the detective.
The detective.
But how does Paul Darrow play a policeman?
He's basically playing it like Columbo. Apart from the American accent, but he's doing a sort of Columbo-ish.
He's sort of hunched over.
Yes, he's hunched over.
He sort of shuffles
along.
about. He sort of puts his hand up with his finger pointing. Yeah. Does he actually say one more thing?
No,
I don't know.
I don't think so.
But you can tell that Paul Darrow is sort of. I mean, I know he's a sort of fan of westerns and things like that, isn't he? But he's clearly a fan of Columbo.
Yes.
What series is this from? Series
4 or 5.
Series 5. Let's have a look. Well, if you'll hold my recorder, just hold that there.
I'm holding it there.
Well, hey, we've got the DVDs here.
Yes.
Because sometimes I think people don't believe we've got the DVDs.
Oh, we've got the DVDs for everything.
Oh yes. So let's have a look. Series 4 or Series 5 was it?
I think it's Series 5.
Oh, let's have a look. Oh dear, it's all falling out. Time to Die. Here we go. It's Series 4.
Oh, Series 4. Beg your pardon.
So, Time to Die. Terry Scott and new Avenger Gareth Hunt employ their powers of deductive reasoning to try and work out whodunit when a woman is murdered in a beauty parlour. But can Anushka Hempel charm the villain into confessing? Or no? Transmission 12th of July 1976.
So is it Series 4 that's got the audience involvement, or Series 5 got the audience involvement as well?
Oh, blimey, I'd have to look. I really can't answer that without getting all the DVDs out.
Okay. We bought the DVDs out.
But yeah, Series 4, which is what this is from, also includes Dead Grass. So you've got Sheila Hancock, Stratford Johns. Oh, and George Savalas.
George Savalas, who was
brother of
Telly
Savalas.
I'm just a bit confused.
Yes.
What have I got myself into here?
Future Imperfect, Lindsay Wagner and Magnus Pike. Future Imperfect, that's the one set in the future with Bernard Horsfall.
If you only watch one episode of Whodunnit, that is the one. It's very strange.
Really? It's really, really strange.
It's very strange.
But Bernard Horsfall,
in a wig,
being presented with a ridiculous costume and a ridiculous script and a ridiculous robot android thing, still plays it absolutely straight.
It's really good. Yeah, really good.
Final Verdict, Stephen Yardley, Richard O'Sullivan, Norman Bowler.
Oh, that's the one where people keep dying.
Is that the one where Honor Blackman gets...
She gets really cross because she's trying to ask questions, and she asks somebody a question and that character dies because they've all been poisoned.
A Bad Habit, a Monastery.
Oh, that's John Aberneri.
Uther Joyce and Brian Murphy. John Aberneri. Has he got hair in that?
No.
Or is he? No, he's actually not.
Well, he's a monk, so he wouldn't.
Oh, no. Deadly Tan, June Whitfield, Rodney Bewes, Tony Selby.
That's one with Neville Jason in from...
that's right.
Andros of
Tara.
Tara,
yes.
He's a dictator.
Yes. And
everybody claims to have done it.
Dead Ball, a football one, William Franklin, Sandra Dickinson and Gordon Honeycomb, or Peter Halliday and Linda Bellingham as well.
Yes, Peter
and
Halliday's
Patrick
the
Newell.
policeman, I think.
Yes. But that's a pretty good, Series 4 is a pretty good, range of things. So you can put that back in. No, I think I've got the disc the wrong way around. That's why it's falling out. You need to take that one out and put it back in. But a bit more about A Time to Die. Yes. Okay.
Excuse me, I'm just going to click a minute.
You see, proof that we do have these. Oh, there we go. That's a good noise for audio. Now the woman from the competition.
Yes.
When she gets it right,
yes.
they say. Pertwee says to her, "You can have anything off the set."
Because they can pick something from the set as a prize, and she wants a trip to London, which one of the characters has, and to see a stage show. And he goes, "Yes, you can." And I'm sure the producer's going, "No, she can't. She can't
afford it."
Yeah. So God knows what she ends up with.
I just wanted to get out the Series 2 one a minute as well. I'm trying to do this with one hand because we should mention The Art of Theft.
Oh yeah.
That's the. Oops, thank you. There we go. That's the one with the. Oh, it's Harry Taub doing some sort of yokel.
Doing a country accent.
A yokel
but
accent.
It's just sort of Irish.
And you've got the absolute collision of Kingsley Amos and Arthur Mullard sat next to each other.
No, they're opposite
the opposite ends. Yeah, all right, because they might explode if they sat next to each other.
They're like matter and antimatter.
But Arthur Mullard's approach to Whodunnit is, I have one question. Whodunnit?
Yeah.
And Kingsley Amos grills the poor old actors about art history and things like that. And when they can't reply, he thinks that they're all guilty.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that they're not expecting to have to answer all these questions. Yeah. Oh, Teddy Bear's Picnic.
Oh, that's weird.
That's the one with
Aubrey
Woods.
Yeah.
Dressed as a clown.
Because it's set
with a soft toy rabbit called Parkinson.
Yes.
Very strange.
That is very strange.
Oh, John Challis in Goodbye Sarge.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the one that Francoise Pascal was in?
Francoise Pascal?
That's the Rajah's Ruby or something, isn't it?
Oh God, yeah, Francoise Pascal. I forgot she was in that one.
She's in one. Or more Magnus Pike, the Q43. Ah, there are the Rajah's Ruby. Yes, Francoise Pascal, Bill Pertwee, Terry Wogan, Prunella Scales, John Savardant, Dennis Lill. Good grief! I mean, you look at these, and they're just absolutely
jammed packed full of actors. That was what I was trying to say. Jam packed full of great actors. Yeah.
Some of whom are clearly having fun. Yes. I think. Yes.
It's because Katie Manning's in one, isn't it?
Oh yes, Katie's in one.
Series 4 one.
Kate O'Mara does one.
Yes.
But briefly, I just wanted to sort of also say about Anushka Hempel, because we are going to do a little bit more about her.
Yeah.
In a
very
bit.
Soon.
But she's apparently a designer and a noted figure in London society these days.
Okay, that's nice.
So she designs hotels,
overpriced hotels,
restaurants, boats, and I've just gone on her website, Anushka Hempel Design. If you go on the shop section, You can buy things like floor lamps and table lamps and chairs and something called Asia Minor.
Which is some sort of screen.
It's some sort of screen. An Asia Minor, which is described as can be fitted or hung straight and used to diffuse the light or as a room divider. Mm-hmm. Personally, I'd just use a bit of hardboard. But Asia Minor costs
DVDs.
costs you a mere £6,200.
Gosh, we'll have 2 of those.
Yeah. Or you could get some Oriental chairs, £1,700 for a chair, which frankly doesn't look very comfortable.
No, it doesn't really.
It's not really got back to it.
No.
But there you go. That's posh design for you. So it's.
I'm sure some people would love to pay for it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. But yeah, Whodunnit 5 series, 1973 to 19.
6 series, isn't it?
Oh, there is 6 series, but there's only 5 series currently available.
Let's come on network. Release series 6.
Yeah. Series 6 is a long one. It's 12 episodes.
Yeah. Well,
April to June 78.
I think.
Or the Christmas special, we should say.
Yes, our Christmas
special as well. There's William Russell's in that very briefly with an eye patch.
With an eye patch.
Oh, and the Brig.
And the Brig.
The Brigadier's in the
Brig's
one.
not in that one. He's in an episode of Series 5.
He
has to dance.
That's the one where Pertwee goes, I didn't know you could do comedy, Brig.
Yeah.
Yes, let's have a look. Oh, yes, Last Tango in Tooting.
He gets
It's
murdered.
the finals of the Banforth Chemical Works dance competition.
Yeah.
And there's murder on the dance floor. Oh, Lordy. Yes, this is just a strange series on occasion, isn't it?
Oh, on very many occasions, yes.
But, yes, we're just champing at the bit for the last season now, aren't we?
Yeah, and I think our next guest also wants the next season to be released because there's certain Mike Holloway in it.
Oh, that's true.
She rather liked.
That one's not out yet.
No.
But, we'll talk about that in a bit. Yeah. But, so I think we get a general thumbs up to Whodunnit.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is, we go back to Whodunnit.
Yeah, even though we can quite often remember who the
half the time
I
usually forget. I mean, we rewatched the airplane smuggling one with Mary Tam. And the Verger.
Yes. Edward Sinclair.
The Verger from Dad's
Army.
Army. And Frank Thornton.
Yes.
That's a real collision of people. And I couldn't remember who'd done it.
I could sort of half
I've seen
remember.
that one about 3 times.
Yeah, I could half remember.
And I can't remember. So they do bear rewatching, I think.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, general thumbs up. And, it's one of those things, I think, dip your toe in the water, I think, with Whodunnit. And you may like what you see.
Yes.
Okay, and now we'll just play the end music like we like to do. And we'll come back with another interview, hopefully.
Yes.
Okay. See you then.
Bye-bye.
I've realised we forgot to say thank you to Paul.
Oh, thank you, Paul. Sorry, Paul. Thank you, Paul.
Yes. No.
Entertaining as ever.
Yeah, my age, that's what it is.
Is it?
No. We also have to say thank you to James Gent for interviewing us as his podcast of the week on his
We Are Cult
podcast.
website.
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 No, he's a website.
Yeah,
they haven't got a podcast
Sorry.
yet.
No, he hasn't.
So we were podcast of the week for the 31st of March 2017, and he sent us a load of questions, and
we sent him some answers.
And we did get some new listeners out of that.
We did. Hello, new listeners.
So thank you very much to James for that. But now we have a bit of a Scottish cutaway.
A Scottish cutaway?
Well, not a Dalek cutaway.
Not a Dalek cutaway, no.
As Warren
Yes.
travels all the way up to the Isle of Skye.
Yes.
Not just to do this, but
No, he was going on holiday.
there anyway.
He was going to Skye. He went to Scotland.
To visit my old friend Fiona.
And his old friend.
Fiona, yes. Fiona we have known for a long time.
Yes.
And we met through the Salisbury local group.
That's the Doctor Who local group.
Yes.
You should explain that,
Yes,
because there might be people listening to this that don't know what their local group is.
Yes, Salisbury Doctor Who brackets local group. Would have been about 1986, I believe.
Gosh, that's quite some time ago.
That's a while ago.
Yes.
And yes, Fiona now lives up in Scotland, so
She does.
we sent our roving reporter Warren to go and say hello,
and to interview her.
and she gets out a photo album at the start,
does.
which of course doesn't work on audio, but it does lead to some memories of her time in fandom and some thoughts on Doctor Who and her other
interests
and her other favourite programme, which I'm sure she will reveal
very
in
soon.
a few seconds.
Yes.
Okay, so let's say hello to Fiona.
Hello, Fiona.
And over to you.
And now a Caledonian concatenation, capriciously, incontestably, cachinatory, conviviality. Scottish fun.
Well, you stuck your tickling jock. Will you stop your tickling jock? Dinna make me laugh so hearty, or you'll make me choke. Oh, I wish you'd stop your nonsense. Just look at all the folk. Oh, you stop your tickling, stop your tickling jock.
Okay, I'm Fiona. Warren used to know me as Fiona Matheson. Fiona Matheson.
Mummy Rabbit?
And Mummy Rabbit, yes. Right, Daddy Rabbit.
Right, yeah.
You'll have to explain that one. Briefly, I was Fiona Beresay, and now I'm Fiona Allen. And we are currently sitting in my dining room on the Isle of Skye.
Beautiful.
And Warren does not want to go home.
No, I don't want to go home. No. Actually, I can't go home because they've manacled me to the sink.
Yeah, someone has to do the washing up round here, because we don't.
You've got a Doctor Who room, haven't you? Some people have dodgy rooms, but you have a Doctor Who room, don't you?
It's heading that way.
Heading. I walked in there and it was like childhood reborn. It was marvellous.
It's got 1 or 2 Doctor Who dollies in it.
That sounded really dodgy.
Well, the full-size Cyberman's in the entrance hall.
This is going well. Okay.
Sorry, were we supposed to be serious?
Not really. This is when we ever been serious. Hold on. My levels are going up still, right?
Woo! You'll be lucky.
Right.
My husband's in the other room.
I'm going to look at these photos.
But yeah, I've just put a photograph album in front of Warren, and it's going back about 30-ish years.
Oh, I could walk then. Okay. Tell us about your photos.
Right. Well, the particular ones we're looking at feature a few members of the old, what was then, now we're old, Salisbury Federation of Whovians, and I had nothing to do with that name. I think that was Andrew Wink. Less said the better. Can we get sued from this podcast?
No. all 15 people would sue us. They probably.
Well, there's a group shot of us sitting on the steps outside the big house at Longleat. Who's there? Keith Musselwhite, Andrew Trowbridge, yourself, myself, and my 3 what I call adopted sisters. It's a long story. That was one of the Pussycats. And it was the girls that first came up with the name Daddy Rabbit, because it goes with Warren. And it's that.
I'm turning the page.
Turn over the page, and we might get some close-ups.
Oh no!
Yay! It's a shame. It's a shame this is audio. That's a lovely picture of you with the 3 girls.
I love that one. That's great.
Yeah. Now these 3 little girls, between them now, have 6 children.
Oh, grief. What
And
time
the
did
oldest
Dial a Rider arrive?
The oldest one was 14 last month.
Oh, God.
Yeah, just to really make us feel old.
So how did you get involved in fandom then?
Oh, I don't know. Well, I'm old enough to just remember Pat Troughton on original broadcast. I was lucky enough to have parents that watched Doctor Who from when it started. So when I came along 2 months after the programme started, because I was born January 64. So it was just always there. We always watched it on a Saturday. Mostly, I remember Pertwee most of all, growing up on a Saturday afternoon, sitting down watching Pertwee years. And I remember the 10th anniversary, Dad bought me the Radio Times magazine and devoured that, because we were saying earlier about when we first got involved in this, it was what they call now the Classic series. And you didn't have mass media and Facebook and Twitter and everything. And there wasn't so much in the way of merchandising. And so when the Radio Times came out, there was no repeats on the television, or very few repeats on the television, no videos, DVDs or anything like that. So all you had was this Radio Times magazine and then the Target novels. But I actually, in the 1970s, was a huge Tomorrow People fan. I was on the other side. But as a result of that, anything that a cast member of the Tomorrow People was in, another programme, then I would watch. And I'd sort of not consciously stopped watching Doctor Who in the mid to late Tom Baker era. I just was doing other things, being in sort of early teens, as one did. And then it was announced that Tom Baker was leaving and Peter Davison was taking over, and because my ears pricked up because Peter Davison had been in the Tomorrow People, so I thought, I'll start watching it. Yeah, no. Well, he didn't wear a lot.
And what was his name?
Elmer.
What was Emily?
No,
that's
no, that was his sister. Yeah, he was in A Man for Emily.
Elmer.
And he was Elmer, Emily's brother. And so I started watching then. And of course that was round about the 20th anniversary time. And we didn't live far from Longleat in those days. And so I had tickets and I went and joined the queue, like hundreds of other people. Picked up a membership form for the DWAS, joined the DWAS. And a few months later went to my first convention in London, which was Interface 3. And that was John Pertwee, Nick Courtney, John Levine, Barry Letts, Terence Dix. And really from there didn't look back. And I'm not quite sure how Salisbury Federation I can't remember now, the mists of time, how we all got together. And
85, 86, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I think it just started off... Well, Keith I knew from church.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one hymn, I actually had it at my first wedding, and it has the line, "Dwellers all in time and space." And every time we sang that at church, Keith and I didn't dare catch each other's eyes across the congregation.
Not that you're a corpser at all.
No, not at all. Very, professional to the last.
Last what? Last bus?
Yeah. But these photographs that we're thumbing through, and the three girls, their father used to work at the hospital, and they used to enter a float we used to have the Salisbury Carnival every summer, and they decided that they were going to do Doctor Who float, and they knew I was by this time had quite a collection of photographs and books and things, so John asked could he borrow them for reference to do the things for the float. And I ended up being on the float as well, trying to dress up as Nissa, and my mum said, "You can't wear that skirt, there's nothing to it." So I was in like an original Traken costume, and the skirt version, not the trouser version. And that was the fun evening, and it just I think it just really sort of grew out of that. A couple of us just used to meet in each other's houses and watch the early videos pirated videos that the quality of the picture quality wasn't very good, and I started going to conventions, and that was it really, and it then sort of took over my life.
Are you having therapy?
No, not quite that. I can switch off from it sometimes.
Another pause. Please.
At work, yes, I can switch. When I get to work, I put my professional head on, and no, we're getting to work. So garbage here now.
Oh,
talking to put heads on.
Putting heads on. Put my working head on.
Yars. That's your Dorset head.
Yarp. What? What's your first memory of telly then?
My first memory of telly. Watch with Mother. Things like Wooden Tops, Andy Pandy. I like Spotty Dog and Wooden Tops. You can't do this on audio, can you? But the movement of Spotty Dog. I like Spotty Dogs. Yeah, so Watch with Mother. And then the cartoons that used to be on at the end of children's time, and like Clangers, love the Clangers, and Bagpuss, all those sort of things. Blue Peter, I think everyone who's of our generation grew up with Blue Peter.
Ah, it brings into question there. Blue Peter or Magpie?
Oh, it's Blue Peter, but I used to like Magpie when they used to do the fundraising, because they used to do the thing down all the corridors to Teddington. And like I said, I was a Tomorrow People fan, so it used to give me I was backstage with the Tomorrow People because Magpie would go around the studios. So, but it's also like Saturday mornings, Swap Shop or Tiswas.
Tiswas.
Or Swap Shop.
Depends who was on Swap Shop that week.
No, I think I used to get up on a Saturday morning and I wouldn't move from the telly until about 12:30, and Swap Shop had finished. Oh, I like Swap Shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big fan of Eric. Eric used to drop the letters down the floor.
Yeah. And Posh Paws.
Posh Paws.
Yeah.
What else stands out to you? Hold on, let's step back actually. You keep mentioning Tomorrow People.
Yes.
Why? Why the draw to that? What made it jump out rather than anything else that was on at the time for you?
I think probably because the main people in it were my age. It was something that was a possibility that teenagers could develop these special powers. What was happening to these teenagers? I think could have been you. The great breakout could have been, anyone could have been a Tomorrow person. So you felt like it, could happen. Whereas Doctor Who, as much as I love it and get involved with it, it's I don't like to break anyone's hearts, but what's really the chances of the TARDIS landing in your back garden and you being whisked away? But there were the chances that you could break out and become a Tomorrow person.
Did you see any of the new series that they did?
I have seen all of them. I've seen all 3 series. The original, then the new series, and then the American. Mm-hmm. I think it was a wasted opportunity with the American version. They took Roger Price's sort of initial ideas. I know he was involved with it. But instead of, like in the original series, where you literally had a story, like Doctor Who, you had a different story every couple of weeks. They were different stories. The linking thing was that you had the same people with these special powers involved in things, in adventures, whereas the American series just sort of followed these people with special powers, and it was more about them and their powers and what was going on with this one particular power block, and how it was the good versus bad, and that was all it was for one series.
Do you think that they fell into the mould of like Marvel Comics as heroes that they have at the blockbuster cinema?
Yeah, just another one, and like Heroes.
It was a treadmill program. Yeah, because that was the niche at the time. Yeah, I agree with you, because it took the concept. Fine, I can quote the concept. But he didn't set foot in any other direction, whereas original Tomorrow People would set foot in any direction.
And they even did time travel. Mm. Yeah, so I love the Roman one. And the idea of somebody taking back the idea of the steam engine, and then when they went back to what was their time, it was completely different, parallel. And I love those sort of things.
Will you stop your tickling job? Stop your tickling job. Dinna make me laugh so hearty, or you'll make me choke. Oh, I wish you'd stop your nonsense. Just look at all the folk. Will you stop your tickling, tickling, tickling? Stop your tickling job. Repeat, will you stop your tickling job? Stop your tickling job. Dinna make me laugh so hearty, or you'll make me choke. Oh, I wish you'd stop your nonsense. Just look at all the folk. Will you stop your tickling, tickling, tickling? Stop your tickling job.
Thank you to Fiona.
Yes, thank you, Fiona.
She will be back in episode 9.
Yes.
That seems a long way distant, but it's really not. We've already got some stuff planned for
we already
episode
decided
9.
what we're going to be doing.
That's quite well planned already.
It is. Make sure you tune in.
Yes. Warren does have a little tale to tell of his journey up there.
He does.
Yes. Which surprised me.
Yes,
it was a nice surprise.
Yeah.
So we'll let him tell that tale.
Yes. Back in a few minutes.
And then we're back for our last programme of this episode.
Yep.
So back in a few seconds after Warren.
Okay, ta-da!
It's young Warren again. He's come back from Scotland, haven't you?
Aye.
And you brought us some bagpipes to stick on the fridge.
Squeezy sax.
Squeezy Leonard bagpipe sax. But thank you for doing the interview with Fiona.
That's fine. It was a great assignment. I haven't seen her for quite a while.
Aye. But you have a tale to tell about your journey up there, do you not?
Oh, yes.
Would you like to do some shameless name dropping?
Well,
tell us about it.
Well,
tell
sat
us what
on
happened.
the paraffin budgie. Sat there. And
What plane did you go on? An aeroplane. One with wings.
One with wings.
Yes.
And I'm sat there and somebody sits next to me, which you do because
because they do have more than one seat. You don't have to sit on a box.
And I take no notice of the people, so I'm staring out the window. Plane takes off, and
thank you, Dick Mills. Girls don't make sounds.
No, they don't, do they, Lisa?
No.
She does when she's had pickled onions, doesn't she? Moving on. And I looked at this chap to the left, where he looks familiar. And he looks at me and goes, "Ah, yes, it's me." I thought,
was that the voice?
No. He just goes, "Yes, it's me." And I went,
to which you should have said, "And it's me."
To which I just looked right back at what I was doing. Just staring at my tea, thinking I'm sat next to a nutter. And I went, "Hold on a minute." And the penny didn't just plummet. I think it bashed me on the side of the head. And it's Alan Cumming.
So they must arrange these aeroplane seats in alphabetical order.
They must do, yes.
Which is why he sat next to you.
Yes.
Thinking about it, yeah.
And the week before, I arrested somebody with the same name as mine.
Oh, right.
Which was very bizarre.
Cummings all over the place.
I know. I had to say in my interview that we are no relation. But yeah, he was a nice chap. He was up there. He's filming a documentary with some Americans. There were 3 Americans, film crew going up. He says, "I'm taking them up the locks." And I just looked at him and he stuck his tongue inside of his cheek. And knowing him, that could mean a multitude of things, couldn't it?
He did say that they were meant to be filming earlier, and then there was some snowstorm Stella or something in America, or something which had delayed them coming across.
Well, he'd have been,
I think
bit upset about that, because whilst I was there, it snowed.
Yes,
because I went up Cairngorms. I couldn't see the top of the Cairngorms.
Because he posted a little video of him in his hotel room.
Ah.
It was either the same day or the day after. I can't remember.
All right.
I did look.
I had a book with me I was reading.
A book?
Very good book.
You take books with you?
I do take
on
books.
Holy Day.
On a holy day with me. And this book was written by somebody by the name of
Andrew Trowbridge and Lisa Parker. Never heard of them. So I thought I'd give it a go. The Adventures of Truby and...
No, it's Toby and Lucy Volume 1.
That's it.
You know. And I gave you a copy of that and I signed it.
You signed it?
Yeah.
Yes, it's mysteriously gone missing.
Oh, do you not have this book anymore?
No, I don't. Last seen in the hands of himself.
Oh.
What are you reading? Snatch. Read the page, chuckle, chuckle, chuckle. I don't know what happened to the book after that.
Oh. Alan Cummings nicked my book. That should be the title of your autobiography.
Allegedly there.
Well, you got off the plane and you didn't have the book with you.
I didn't have the book. So I
perhaps he left it under the seat.
Perhaps he did. Perhaps he ate it or something.
I'm going to get you another copy now.
Okay,
why don't you tweet him and ask him whether he's got your book?
Or if he can give me the book back. He might sign it, which would be unfortunate.
He might reply.
He might want a part.
Well, we're always, we're always keen to get it out there.
You suggested which part he should play.
No. Anybody? Well, we do have some people that we had in mind for various parts, didn't we? Who did we think? We wanted Al Murray as Roger Bacon, and Thoth was going to be Omid Jalili, and if we couldn't get him, Alexi Sale. Was that right?
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Alexi Sale.
But and it was going to be directed by Graham Harper. Yeah. But there you go.
Lots of energy and pace, please.
Yes, and wafting smoke about.
Smoke.
Yes,
wafting.
exactly. Yeah. Oh well. So
nice chap. Didn't talk for that long, but
well, he was reading a book.
He was reading a book. Put the book down. I can't remember the rest.
Well, why can't you remember the you? Slip you a drink.
Where are you going? Where are we going?
Slip you a drink.
No. I nearly asked to do it. It would be very rude to ask to do an interview.
All right.
Didn't get that far. Didn't manage to get the tape recorder surreptitiously out of
that's a shame.
The rucksack.
If you're listening, Alan, you'll be very welcome to come and sit on our sofa and chat about Crown Court if you really want to.
Nice chap. Very nice chap.
Oh well, you do meet him though, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you keep bumping into famous people? What is it about you? Is you're open on those faces. You've got a face.
Stalker. I'm a stalker, professional.
Because you've been up on Dr. Lucy's roof, haven't you?
I have been on Lucy's roof. Yes. I'm sorry, I'm coming over all peculiar there.
But Dr. Lucy asked you for directions once, didn't you? You have to be careful how I said that.
Yeah.
She asked you to give her directions.
She asked me, if you want to know the way, ask a policeman.
And then you
carry on screaming.
You ended up on a roof at Hampton Court, is that right?
That's right.
How did that happen?
I was stationed down the road.
All right.
And we went into, myself and my colleague, the new officers went in there, spoke to the security guards and said, would you like to see round? That's the reason we came. Get a freebie. And they said, yeah, sure. Well, let's just take you to the parts that the public don't see.
Yeah.
And we went past and went into the private rooms, and they took us up to the roof.
Yeah.
And absolutely fantastic view from there. See from my beautiful clear day. But it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. I've got a handful of photographs. I should pass them down to you. But it was just amazing.
I think there's a computer program that they filmed in Hampton Court Maze because there's was it Ian McNaught Davis, I think his name is.
You can say McNaughton then, wouldn't you?
Eh?
You can say McNaughton.
No, I think it's Ian McNaught Davis. I will check that later. And K9, and they're in the maze, and K9's computing a way to get out the maze, and I'm going to see if I can find that clip now.
Brilliant. Yeah.
I'll see if I can find it. But yeah, it's a computer program from about 1981-ish. So I'm going to go and have a look. But thank you for that, Warren. I like your sort of encounters with the stars.
I like my encounters with the stars.
Yes, it's always.
They might not like their.
No, he's never going to see you again. But there you go. Well, Alan,
orders are in
hope you enjoy the book, and
Yes.
£5, please. Bye.
Bye.
What has happened to Warren's copy of Toby and Lucy? Has Alan Cumming half-inched it? Find out in episode 9 of Round the Archives.
What kind of voice is that meant to be?
That was my dramatic trailer voice, overman voice, like you get in movies.
Right. I think you need to practice a bit.
I'm not very good at that. But Warren's mention of Hampton Court and my mention of K9.
Right.
And I have actually found the computer program from 1982 with K9.
Right.
and Ian McNaught-Davis in the maze at Hampton Court. We went in that maze, didn't we? Did we get lost?
No.
No?
I don't think so.
No, but here's a tiny little piece of the computer program, and then we will finally do.
We will let you get away,
and we'll do the thing, the final thing
that we're going to do.
Yes. See you.
Bye bye.
This way. You know, for a so-called intelligent animal, your three-point turns are terrible.
Compliments are unnecessary. Please follow.
And our final article this time round is about
Zodiac,
which
is a detective series featuring a policeman,
played by
Tom Rogers,
and
an astrologer, played by Anushka Hempel.
So, what are their character names? It's written on the back.
That helps. There's the policeman's called David Gradley. Gradley. Sorry, she calls him Grad. And she is called Esther. Yeah, I can't see the rest of her name.
Esther Jones.
See, there's a cast list there.
You're reading this off the back of the DVD.
I am.
Sleeve, aren't you? Which is a bit misleading.
It is,
because it also lists.
It lists John Rhys-Davies, now known as a dwarf.
Yes.
Which
dwarf is he?
He's Gimli.
Oh, is he?
He's Gimli, not in the Hobbit films. He's in Lord of the Rings.
Right.
Francis Corker and Peter Childs,
who are all listed on the back of the DVD as though they're in the entire series.
And they're not. They're only in the first episode.
No.
The only ones that are in the entire series are Tom Rogers and Anushka Hempel.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
But the series created by Roger Marshall.
Yes.
Who many years ago worked on early Avengers and things like that. He also was involved with setting up Public Eye, I believe.
I believe so, yes.
I believe that is right.
Yes.
We should do Public Eye.
We will do Public Eye. It's on the file
over
there.
It's on the list of.
It's on the list of things to do.
Things to do at some point. But executive producer is Kim Mills.
Yeah.
And Kim Mills' name on something always means that it's going to be slightly odd, I think.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's a fair enough assumption.
Because we've got a lot of things where Kim Mills is either producer, director, or exec producer, including the wonderful Mind of Mr. J.G. Reader,
which we should also do
which we will definitely do at some point, and Rivals of Sherlock Holmes,
which we should do at some point.
We should also do it at some point. There's a lot of things to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, this is going. We'll go into hundreds of episodes.
But Zodiac, it only runs for what, six episodes.
6 episodes. Yeah.
First episode is the 25th of February, 1974.
Yes.
Death of a Crab.
Yes.
And we've got the TV Times here.
We have.
In fact, we got the whole issue. It did merit a front cover.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks to Higgins for sending us.
Yes.
the
inimitable Higgins.
The PDF of the whole issue, because it's one of those. There's not much knocking around for it.
No.
But Anushka Hempel gets.
She's on the front cover.
Page. No sign of Anton Rogers.
No, well, she's not as pretty as Anushka Hempel.
He's not as
pretty.
Anushka Hempel is in Zodiac. Now, the logo...
Yes.
It's a bit 1980s neon tube Doctor Who logo,
it's a little bit.
It's quite futuristic for 1974.
Yeah.
It says, "Can a crime be solved by the stars?" Now, I have to put my cards on the table here. And... as a scientist, people might say to me, doesn't this sort of show annoy you? In that she's supposed to have a bit of sort of funny powers, isn't it?
She's meant to be a bit psychic and stuff.
Because there is a bit in episode 1 when the phone's about to ring and she goes over to it and stands in front of it with her hand ready. The phone rings and she picks it up. Yeah. And it's Anton Rogers. You know, and so having a series about astrology helping to solve crimes, doesn't that annoy me? Not really, because this is made up. But what does annoy me is the, and I have to call it, the filler article that they do in TV Times about it, where they get TV Times' astrologer, Roger Elliott, says the stars could hold the vital key to real-life crime cases. Yeah. I just like to think, many professions have their own TV series. Doctors in General Hospital, lawyers in The Main Chance, whatever that is. Even ticket collectors in On the Buses.
Yeah, we have got an episode of The Main Chance.
Have we? Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I think it's, I forget who's in it, but...
But it's, frankly, 2 pages of filler stuff.
Yeah. And a chance to put a few pictures of people that have committed crimes.
Killers and things like that.
Yeah.
But...
One of who looks a bit like, not John Wills. Who's that one with the pipe from the start of Doctor Who?
Neville Heath.
Yeah, that's not. I know who it is, but he looks a bit like
what?
I can't remember what his name is.
Who?
From Doctor Who from the start.
Doctor Who from the start.
Yeah.
Rex Tucker?
No, not Rex Tucker. The other one.
The other one?
Yeah.
No.
Sorry, this is not going anywhere. It doesn't matter anyway.
Never mind. There is another article about the producer.
Yeah.
If I just go past the stuff about Michael Jaston. Oh, here we go. Jackie Davis and Zodiac. Thames Television producer Jackie Davis says she simply thinks it's a lovely, funny idea for a policeman to get involved with an astrologer.
Yeah, but read how they describe Jackie Davis.
And, oh yes, now you can tell... Well, you said these TV Times do feel like...
This one does feel particularly like it's aimed at women, because there's a knitting pattern.
Yeah, but not when it says, Jackie Davis, a handsome, lively lady, produced Man at the Top and Harriet's Back in Town. Is handsome an insult? I don't know.
No, handsome is a word you use when you can't really describe somebody as pretty or beautiful, I guess.
All right, okay.
It's not an insult. It's not particularly a compliment,
But well, yes. Going back to Zodiac, which we should do, the write-up is for episode 1, Death of a Crab. Astrology is strictly for the birds. That's the emphatic view of David Gradley, a work-shy ex-Harrovian who is drifted into the police force. Then he meets a pretty young astrologer called Esther Jones, and he gets his ideas get knocked for 6. The first episode of this light-hearted thriller series features the case of Harry Parker. If only he had read his horoscope one fateful day, his whole future might have been different. So it's an interesting setup episode, I think.
Yeah.
It involves a bloke sort of being drowned in a bath, doesn't it?
Well, yeah.
Yes. And
it's all a bit oddly shot as well.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because you get like shots of a radio and shots of.
Well, I think they're having to be a bit arty because there's no outside filming for the whole of the series, is there? So it's all studio stuff. Yeah. I don't know what the budget is, but I don't think it's terribly high.
Much, no.
But on the other hand, you do get a pretty decent guest stars each week. Let's just
it's not
quickly...
necessarily a criticism, but it's just I remember thinking the first time I was like, oh, this is a bit oddly shot.
But yeah, you've got 6 episodes. So Death of a Crab, Cool Aquarian. I keep wanting to say the Cool Antiquarian, but it's the Cool Aquarian. That's got Michael Gambon, George Baker, Bill Maynard.
Yes.
Strength of the Gemini, Jenny Hanley, Norman Eshley and Charles Lloyd Pack.
Yeah.
Now, Norman Eshley...
Yes, George and Mildred.
...is George and Mildred's next-door neighbour. Because I didn't recognise. I was going, who's that bloke?
Because he hasn't got a moustache.
Ah, right, okay. Yeah. Saturn's Rewards, that's a good episode. Peter Vaughan, Ian Ogilvy and Dinah Sheridan.
Who is Jenny Hanley's mother.
Oh, yes. And Jenny Hanley was in the
previous episode.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Sting Scorpio, Robert Powell, Wensley Pithley and Frank Gatliff in an amazing pink shirt.
Yeah, that's a really, really, that has to be seen to be a brilliant.
Set in Brighton, and he's really playing up the camp stereotype. Yes. But, yes. I quite like that episode, although it's very clear that Anushka's suffering from a cold in this one. Yes.
So we're doing it in sympathy for Anushka
So
Hempel.
yes, given that we've got
from
colds at the moment,
40 odd years ago.
Yeah. But she's really quite sort of hoarse.
She is, yeah.
On occasions,
yeah.
And they even have to write it in.
They had to write it in because probably they didn't have any time to stop filming.
Yeah, when she gets saved by Anton Rogers at the end, she's gonna kiss him, and he sort of recoils and flaps his hands, and she's going, "Oh, like was it breathe or spit all over you or something?"
Something like that.
And then episode 6, The Horns of the Moon, Peter Egan, Peter Jones, Michelle Detrice and Graham Crowden. I mean, that's a good
it's a great cast. It has to be said, Michelle Detrice is probably at the start of her career there, because I think that even predates some others who haven't, doesn't it?
I need to look. I don't know. But yeah, Peter Jones is found in the fridge, isn't he?
He gets murdered, and the murderer puts him in the fridge,
and they open the fridge door,
and he's got his hand up, hasn't he? And
it looks. I mean, if you were shot, and put in a fridge,
which is shot.
If you were shot and put in a fridge, you wouldn't be stood up when you open the door unless you were like instantly frozen.
We wouldn't be frozen in a fridge.
But yeah, the sort of contorted position he ends up in is really,
Yeah, I mean
Peter Jones does do some weird stuff. It has to be said.
As you can tell, there's a bit of a comedy element to some of this as well.
I mean, I like this series because it is light-hearted.
It doesn't take itself too seriously.
No, and you know, had this. I said to you, it's almost a bit sort of. There's a slight feel of if you did Sapphire and Steel as a light comedy. About it, because they've got quite a good relationship.
The nastiness of Sapphire and Steel.
Yeah, I think almost you could have made a bit more of her supposed abilities. They don't really dwell on it too much.
Not at all, really, no.
But yeah, it only ran for 6 weeks. Yeah. It was one of these ones that we just picked at random, didn't it? Because I get it for
you got it for my birthday
for your birthday?
Yeah. And I think I think
John Pertwee
John Pertwee mentions it in an episode of Whodunnit, because when he was introducing Anushka Hempel, and I looked it up. I thought, that looks interesting because it's got Anton Rogers in it, and I quite like Anton Rogers.
Yeah, and
I've never really seen Anton Rogers. I always associate Anton Rogers with comedies like Fresh Fields and May to December.
I mean, this has got a bit of comedy.
Yeah,
but you said
some
of his sort of other earlier stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, was he known for detective stuff
well,
at
he
all?
does do another detective series, but that's after this, I think.
All right.
It's Murder Most English.
Let's have a quick look for
but of course he's a number 2 in...
of course, yes. In
The Prisoner.
Of course. Like everybody seems to be.
Yeah. Well, having a different number 2 for most episodes does give it a lot of scope. But yeah, he's in quite a lot of stuff. He's Dick Swiveller.
Lordy, Dick Swiveller. I'd forgotten about that. You'd said about that.
Is it Nicholas Nickleby?
Isn't it?
Old Curiosity Shop.
Old Curiosity Shop, I think.
It's the trial on Old Curiosity Shop where he's playing Quilp.
That's right. So yeah, it
probably doesn't exist.
It's the early one, which I think is missing.
Yeah.
That's
such a great Dickens name, Dick Swiveller. We're going off topic now. But
that's all right. We're allowed to.
And just by the way, that picture looks like Donald Tosh.
Donald Tosh.
Yes.
Oh right. Okay. Thank you for that.
It's not Donald Tosh. It is a murderer, but it's just the way he's got the pipe and everything. It's like a picture of Donald Tosh.
Right. Here we are. Old Curiosity Shop, 1963 version. Dick Swiveller. And yes, I'm going to keep on saying Dick Swiveller because I think Dick Swiveller is a very good Dickens comedy name.
Yes.
And it does remind me of Spike Milligan used to have a character called Dick Scratcher.
Okay.
And
nice.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, going back to Zodiac.
Yes.
What we're supposed to be talking about.
Are we? I don't know.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, there really are some great performances. Peter Vaughan is very good.
Yeah,
in his episodes.
Peter Vaughan one, I think he's probably my favourite.
And because Ian Ogilvy's in that one, and he's playing a character absolutely miles away from the Saint, from Simon Temple. I'm surprised he ever got the part of the Saint, because I think that comes after this, not before.
Right.
Because it's not long since Roger Moore had been the Saint.
Okay.
And they bring it back in the late 70s with Ian Ogilvy.
And Robert Powell, he's got a very good line in Nastiness as well, hasn't he?
Yeah,
it's only a couple of years.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's only a couple of years after Doomwatch.
Yeah. He's a really callous character in it.
Yes, but I've enjoyed Zodiac, and I'd like to see some more, and there aren't any more.
Well, there aren't any more now.
So
and you're not going to see any more now.
I don't think I'm ever going to write any Zodiac fan fiction.
No,
but you know, sometimes it takes me a little while to get into series.
Because you got me this, and you got me the Strange Report, and we've done all of these, and only one episode of the Strange Report.
Again, I was quite keen. You'd watch one, and I go, oh well, let's watch another one in a few days' time. So
we should watch some more
clearly,
Strange
I enjoyed it.
But I think we got the same effect we got when we did Crown Court. It's enjoyable. It's not those some episodes of Crown Court are serious.
I mean, I think I went too serious. I think I went into it with fairly low expectations.
Yeah.
I said, well, I'll give it a go. It's worth looking out for the actors, but yeah, I enjoy their sort of relationship. The cases are quite
interesting,
odd.
Yeah.
It's got that sort of slight weirdness about it that I enjoy.
Yeah, it's quirky.
Yeah. So you know, it's I think you know it's not brilliant by any stretch of the
It's enjoyable. It's an enjoyable way to while away 50 minutes.
Yeah, it's you know I'd give it a sort of cheery 7.5 out of 10, and that you know. And
sometimes when there's a lot of stuff going on in the world which is not so good, to watch something like this which is light-hearted and fun and everything turns out all right at the end is good.
Yeah,
you know.
But yeah, it's a I think a cheery thumbs up for me for Zodiac. Yeah. Oh, the only other thing I wanted to say about Zodiac.
Your favourite subject, crisps.
Is crisps. I just looked up in The Great British Tuck Shop by Steve Berry and Phil Norman that Smiths did indeed produce a corn and potato snack called Zodiacs.
Okay, were they in the shape of star signs?
In 1979. Judging by the packet, I can just see some sort of pointy shapes. No, I don't think they were actually made in the shape of star signs.
Well, that's disappointing, isn't it?
But yeah, I just love the fact that the flavour is described as mystery flavour.
Does that mean they're not quite sure what it is?
That means they probably produced a flavour and had no idea what it was.
Right. Just call it mystery flavour.
Oh, that'll do. So I've got a little packet of... And I haven't got a packet, but I've got a picture of the packet, and you get the star signs on the back.
Yeah.
And these Zodiacs should reach you in perfect condition. Really. Perfect condition.
Perfect condition.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Oh, one other thing from that Radio Times?
TV
Times.
Yeah.
With all the bumps at the back.
Yeah.
Look at that. Roger Elliott predicts for Huey Green. Oh, go away. There's a letters to Katie Boyle.
Yeah. Dear Katie.
Do you know of a shoe that will reduce risks when you walk on ice? Katie Boyle goes, no.
Just get some snowshoes. Get some shoes with spikes on the bottom.
There's a knitting pattern for Stacey Dorning's jumper.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Sweater and beret patterns.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's the letters page.
Yeah.
Somebody writes in to praise John Woodvine for his singing voice.
Okay.
How splendid it was to hear John Woodvine, Detective Chief Superintendent Kingdom of New Scotland Yard.
Which we'll be doing at some point.
There's one for Warren.
Yeah.
Singing on the Valdunican show. Yeah. What a marvellous voice and such commanding stage presence. I haven't heard such an agreeable surprise since hearing a burst of melody from Callan, Edward Woodward.
Edward Woodward.
As we said at the start, Edward Woodward
has a lovely singing voice. Now we're going to have to look John Woodvine up, aren't we?
Oh, to place Zodiac in context.
Yep.
As well, which we should.
Yep.
The Tomorrow People story that was running at the time was The Blue and the Green.
Mm-hmm.
So that, if you know your Tomorrow People, as Fiona mentioned earlier, you see all this ties
up. It all
up.
links up, yeah. We had a badge, didn't we? The blue and the green when we got the
Tomorrow People. Yeah, Matt.
What were we, blue or green?
I can't remember. Matt West sent us a badge.
I think you were green, actually.
I don't know. Oh, look, house parties on.
Oh,
Relax
God.
with a cuppa with the house party people. Yeah, Tomorrow People, Blue and the Green. The schedules for Zodiac, just to put it in where we are. Opportunity Knock, 6:45. Coronation Street, 7:30. Love Thy Neighbour,
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. World in Action, 8:30. Zodiac, 9 till 10. Then there was an election broadcast on behalf of the Labour Party. And then news at 10. At 10 o'clock, funnily enough.
At 10 past 10.
Yeah, news at 10 at 10:10.
Is that on for 50 minutes?
There's a star against Zodiac. and there's a star against most things. That star means it's in colour.
Oh, right.
So they were still having to list that things were in colour in 1974.
Gosh.
But there we go.
Okay.
Anyway, I think we've burbled enough.
Yes.
But Zodiac, fun,
Yes.
worth a look.
Available from most good retailers and a few bad ones.
Another network title.
Yes.
And okay, so we'll wrap up now.
Yeah.
And we just do our farewells and let's get a shift on with episode 9 because we've already got 20 minutes of material in the can for that one.
Yes,
and
we've got to be very interesting.
We've got some very interesting stuff
come
for
back,
episode 9.
Come back for episode 9.
We're rather pleased for it.
We are. Yes.
See you soon then.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Come and make eyes at me down at the outdoor gimbals. Da na 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 na. Dee 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 dee.
Trowbridge, are you squiffy?
It's you! I bloody love you. I've been to the costume shop on Festive Road and bought you this Penelope pit stop outfit. I thought maybe later I could show you my hooded claw. Yeah, I'll get you, Penelope Pitstop.
He's drunk. Andrew Trowbridge is drunk.
Nonsense, I've only had a few ales, officer.
You're in no fit state to do the end credits. Go and lie down and sleep it off.
But I'm not sleepy. All things considered, I'm really rather...
Some...
Time.
Later...
Oh, me head. Oh, I think I must have had a bad pint.
What, on top of the 7 good ones?
Hang on. Let me have a pill. Oh, that's a bit better. Oh, pardon.
Are you fit?
That's for my fans to decide, I think.
Yes, you're definitely feeling better. Ready?
Just about.
That was episode 8 of Round the Archives, starring Lisa Parker and Andrew Trowbridge, with Paul Chandler, Fiona Allen and Warren Cummings.
Thanks also to Steve Roberts, Peter Crocker, John Featonby, James Gent, David Brandt and the enigmatic Iggins, plus a laurel and hearty handshake to Alan Cumming.
On the musical side, you heard Dan Tate and Paul Chandler.
The script for Whodunnit, A Time to Die was by Jeremy Lloyd and Lance Percival.
And the producer was Robert Reed. Sorry.
What has happened to Alan? No, not Alan. I no. We don't. No. Let's try that again, shall we? Oh yeah, I'm doing my voice.
What voice is?
It's a voice.